Hi, and welcome to the Hidden Pulse with Cissy. That's me, the podcast where we uncover the driving forces behind bold leadership, real growth, and authentic impact. I'm your host, and today we're diving into the wonderful world of marketing, growth, collaboration, and networking with someone who's not just watching change happen, she's creating it. Hey, we're continuing to grow. And wow, thank you for tuning in. We're still growing and your support means everything. If you enjoyed today's episode, please like, share, comment, and don't forget to subscribe and turn on your notifications. You know, all that wonderful jazz we all podcasters say to do, right? In today's episode of The Hidden Pulse with Cissy, we take the journey with Sarah Ruberg. She's the dynamic CEO and founder of our Thrive Tribe, a marketing and consulting agency serving dental practices, DSOs, and industry partners nationwide. For more than a decade in the dental space, she has built a reputation for helping brands amplify their voice through strategic storytelling and human-centered marketing. Known for her energy, her creativity, her sparkle, and people-first leadership, Sarah is becoming a respected leader and thought leader, appearing in industry events, at networking events, and most recently part of Intellicon and an upcoming vendor match group, which is actually today on while this podcast is airing. Her work centers on empowering teams, building culture-rich brands, and showing organizations how relationships drive real growth. In this episode of The Hidden Pulse, Sarah opens up about her brand evolution, personal leadership, her dad, and what it takes to create a connection in this industry that's rapidly changing. So get ready. We're about to uncover the hidden pulse behind one of the most forward-thinking leaders in dental marketing in the business of growth. So let's dive in. I'm Cissy Mangrum, co-founder and chief revenue officer of RevTech Partners and Maximize RCM Consulting, where we operationalize your KPIs, turn data into dollars, and transform revenue cycle challenges into amazing opportunities through technology, knowledge, education, and processes. This is the Hidden Pulse with Cissy, where every story is a pulse and every pulse is a testament of the human spirit. So let's sit back, get a cup of coffee, tea, or whatever you like to drink, and join us for some amazing stories. And welcome to the Hidden Pulse with Cissy. I am so excited to have Sarah on the call. Thank you so much for joining me today. I have been waiting for Sarah for a while now, so it's so great to have you. So why don't we start off, Sarah? Why don't you just introduce yourself, tell people a little bit about what you do and who you are, and then we'll get started in these conversations.
Well, thank you for having me on, Cissy. And I know we were scheduled to do this before, but I think it's really appropriate that we reschedule to today because it's your birthday. So happy birthday. Thank you for spending part of your day with me. That's so nice. I love it. So I'm excited to spend time with you. For those that don't know me, my name is Sarah Ruberg. I am the CEO and a founder of our Thrive Tribe. We're a marketing agency, and we work mostly with dental vendors who specifically want to get in front of DSOs. So it's like niche, niche, niche. And we love it, and we get to help tell people's stories to the entire industry. And it's something that I really, really love doing because so many people in our industry don't realize how wonderful they are. So we get to tell them and show them how wonderful they are and then help tell their story. So thanks for having me.
Yeah, I'm so glad to have you. So, how did you end up in this field? What brought you into doing marketing and then very niche into what you're doing today?
It was much like I think most of us. I got into dental on accident. I was an event planner for 10 years. I did not like it anymore. It was too many nights and weekends. And my career consultant recommended relationship management, which at that point I had no idea what that was. And so I typed that into good old Indeed, and I found a job at a dental marketing company for an account manager. I didn't know anything about dental, nothing about marketing. And I worked there for 6 years. I wore many different hats in that company. I then went to work at the DEO, which is where I really got my feet wet in the DSO space. I met so many great and wonderful people on the DSO side and the vendor side. Worked at another dental marketing company. And from there, I realized it was right during COVID and we wanted to grow in the DSO space. And it was very evident to me that so many people, we craved connection because we couldn't go to all of these conferences and be in person. And so we began to really spend a lot of time talking to people on social media and not talking. It's funny that you and I talking before this, your mindset is very similar to the mindset that we had. We created content that wasn't necessarily promoting us, it was promoting others. We believed give to give, not to receive. And things will come back to you in the ways that they're supposed to. And once I realized how powerful social media was in our industry, I decided to start my own business and really help vendors and industry partners because not very many people were helping them. And plus I love so many of them and I'm friends with a lot of them. So it made it a really easy niche to work with. And so that's how we got to where we are today. And I will say also the DEO was a wonderful place to work, not just because of my relationships, but that's also where I got my industry nickname of Sarah Sparkles. So
Yeah, but you're changing your industry nickname. I saw that little picture on there. What's the name gonna be now instead of Sarah Sparkles? Because I don't know if you can give that up.
No, I can't. I tried really hard to make a funny April Fool's joke, but nobody believed me because I think I said Sarah Corporate. But I will say that the picture, if any, we all go to these events and for a lot of them, they have those photo booths. And this one was an AI photo booth and you could choose your background. And my COO and I were like, hey, entrepreneurship feels just like the Cold War. Let's make that our background. And so that's what we did.
I was like, man, it's gonna be Sarah going after it. That's what I thought. I was like, man, she's getting it. She's getting it. I don't think I'll ever forget meeting you for the first time, and you were so gracious to talk to me. And this was years ago before I even, kind of stepped out to do my own thing. And I was just asking you a little bit about social media. And I'll never forget what you said. You're like, you already have a lot of people on your social media. I was like, I don't really know how to grow it. You were so kind to just say some simple things. And I don't know if you remember that, but that was kind of a really cool thing for me. So thank you very much.
You're
And
welcome.
now
I
I'm
do
on there all
remember
the
that.
time. I probably drive people crazy.
No, you were very helpful. And I remember that it was at Tech Summit in the first year it was in Nashville. And I remember thinking, wow, this young lady's asking me how to grow even more. And you were already doing such a wonderful job. So, and your content is always so helpful. And that's what really matters for a lot of the people in the industry. So I, on behalf of our industry, want to thank you, Cissy, for helping a lot of people. If there was an award, I would give it to you right now.
So I'll take something. I'm just messing with you. um, so, as you're in this industry and you've done a lot of stuff, if you go back to the beginning of your career, the beginning of what you were doing, maybe not in the event planning, but hey, you could go all the way back to the event planning. What kind of advice would you give yourself? Like, just if you had a chance to go back and talk to yourself.
I would really encourage myself to have a better understanding as to who I am as a human. I've told the story on LinkedIn before, but I thought that I was self-aware. And when my first marketing company said to me, hey, we're going to put you in the project management role. And I said, well, we don't have a project management department. They're like, that's right. You're going to start it. Sissy, I was so excited. I was like, I get to build something. This is so fun. I sit down, I look at our Zoho CRM that we're using in projects, and I drew the biggest blank. I had no idea what I was doing. There was no training. And now what I would go back and say to myself is, girl, don't even think about being a project manager because you suck at it because that's not your strength or your forte. And so I can look back and laugh now, but it was really stressful. And so I wish I would have gone back and told myself, have a better understanding of the things that you're good at and the things that you're not good at. And that's okay. So I make sure my team takes Strengths Finder so that we look at their top 5 and their bottom 5 so we can make sure that we're not asking them to do something that might make them unhappy because it's not in their zone of genius. So that would be my advice. Just be more self-aware. And I wasn't in my 20s, I was in my 30s. I feel like I should have known better.
But, I think we all grow at different stages, right? We go through and we learn. I mean, I remember I really wanted to just lead a large medical practice. I wanted to be a CEO. I was on track for that. That was what I wanted to do. I was tracking forward. And then I realized that everywhere I was going, I was fixing things, as an operator, but it was bringing in revenue. And I got a name for myself that I didn't intend, which was like, bring Cissy in and she's going to fix it and the money's going to come in. And then that's how I ended up doing what I'm doing. Right. So I think, we all learn because I'll never forget when I had my leader asked me to help with the revenue side. And I was like, oh no, I'm not doing that. I'm operations. I'm not going over there. And they're like, well, we need you. It's like, no. Then I was like, okay, I'll go over there for the challenge, right? So yeah, being aware of what your strengths are is a big deal. It's a big deal because it can hold you back if you're not sure.
It totally can. And I just one more thing about it. I think we oftentimes think of strengths and weaknesses. Well, we really have to spend time, honing in on our weaknesses and getting better at those things. And it's taken me a long time to realize like, no, I need to put more effort into my strengths. Those are the things, and then delegate the things that I'm not good at, because then I spend way too much time trying to do them. And so
that's the talk of a leader right there. A leader that I've seen and I've grown, and I've had a lot of grace and benefits of having great leaders, that they would always tell me, stop focusing on the things you can't do right and focus the things on you can, and give the other stuff away. It was like so hard for somebody who likes to take control, right?
yes.
All right. So I know you've got some stories here, so don't hold back on us. Okay, Sarah? I'm ready. It's Friday afternoon for me, right? And this will be on Friday. So people need to have a little laughter. So I'm leaning on you, Sarah, because I've seen you tell some stories. So, all right. What's the funniest thing or most unexpected thing that has ever happened to you on the job?
Oh my goodness. On the job, I came prepared with probably the funniest thing that I thought that had ever happened to me in my life. But as far as on the job
Do
goes.
tell that story too. We don't have to just do it on the job.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
I used to live in Connecticut, and when you live up in New England, most of when you're in like kindergarten through 8th grade, you go on like your 8th grade field trips and stuff like that. And we were really lucky because we had all of New England to go to, and we went to the Metropolitan Museum of Art in New York, and I was so excited, Cissy. I was so excited. And I don't know why. At one point we were upstairs and somebody had said, wow, the gift store is closing. I do not know why. I was so excited to go there, and I started to like gingerly run down the steps. And then it turned into rolling down the steps in front of my entire class. And like every step, it was marble, and it had this little lip at the very end. So it was just like going down, hitting that lip the entire time. And I got down to the bottom and I looked up, and everybody was just like so in shock. And it wasn't, the worst part wasn't even that I was falling. I don't know if you can do this, but I cannot scream. When shriek or like scream, I can't. And so the entire time I was falling down these stairs, I made the most horrific manly voice that I have ever heard in my life. And that's what people remembered from me falling down the stairs. Wasn't even me falling. It just was like, did that noise just come from Sarah? Like, what?
Here's this crazy noise coming out, and then probably thump, 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 thump.
Exactly. I think I even like slowed down, and I'm like, great, I'm going to stop. And then I don't know, I built more momentum and I just kept going until I went to the very end. And I'm pretty sure I missed my opportunity at the gift store, but I'm still friends with a lot of people I went to elementary and middle school with, and they all still remember that.
Oh my gosh, that's funny. Did you get a nickname from that?
I did not, surprisingly, now that I
Oh,
even
that's
think about that.
wow. Well, okay. So, are you a clumsy person in general? Like you get excited, you just get clumsy?
I'm only clumsy when I warn other people not to be clumsy. So, like my I have a big white rug in my living room, and I think I said to somebody like, "Careful drinking wine over there. I don't want you to spill it." What do I do the next day? I spill my entire cup of coffee over the entire beautiful white wool rug. And so anytime I worry about somebody else, it's usually when I fall or trip or do something silly. So other
Oh
than
my
that, I'm
gosh,
not.
that's
What about
funny.
you?
Oh yeah, Sarah, let me say I am clumsy. And here's the thing, it's I don't mean to be clumsy. It just happens. And also I don't mean to run into walls. I just do. My parents would tell me, no joke, Sarah. They would be like, that wall has been there forever. But no, I'd like be running down the hall and pop right into the wall and it's like, what is wrong? I don't have time. I don't have time to be thinking about the walls.
How
I
funny.
seriously, I have a bad habit, and this is horrible to say. But if you had gone rolling down, if I had been in your class and you were rolling down the stairs, I would have been dying laughing. I have a bad habit. My husband hates it because when my husband falls down or gets hurt, the first thing I do is laugh. And then I
Well,
ask him if he's okay. And he's like, "Thanks, yeah, I'm okay." Like, oh my
now
God.
I know. Now I know I can send you because I love slapstick, and my brother would like do it on purpose. He's 13 years older than I am, so he would purposely like run into things, fall down because he knew it made me laugh. And so I also would do the same thing. So now I know if I see anything funny of slapstick, I'm
Oh,
sending it
yeah,
to you.
just send it my way because I'll enjoy it. The other day I was at work and I was going for a walk at lunch and I was so proud of myself going for a walk. And I was just walking and I fell down and I was like, is anybody watching me? I'm like, I'm like, holy cow, is anybody watching me? I get up, I continue to walk, I go into my office and I fall down again. And I call my husband and said, what in the world is going on? It's not like I'm drinking. It's like, this is ridiculous. He was like, you got to pay attention to what you're doing, sissy. And I was like, oh yeah, that's right. That's right. I got to pay attention. I was like, oh man. Yeah, I have a funny story that you'll probably think is funny. I was in an office and I was making photocopies and I was sitting up front, not sitting, I was standing by the photocopy machine and I was talking to the people that were sitting up on the front desk and we were just chit chatting and I went to step forward and fell down. Like there was absolutely no reason for it, Sarah. There was none whatsoever at all. I just fell down. And they're like, "Sissy," and I couldn't stop laughing. I was like, "Oh my God." I was like, I can't put 2 feet in front of myself. I was like, this is ridiculous. I was like, oh man.
You just reminded me about something on the job just recently at Yankee. I busted my behind in like walking on the floor, my rolled my ankle and it was almost slow motion. And I just kind of like fell right down to the ground. It was over towards the multi-site summit portion. Thank goodness there wasn't like a ton of people around. I didn't even turn around. I just got up. I just kept walking. I don't
You're
know if
like,
anybody saw
nothing
me.
happened here?
Nope. Nope. I went to pick something up off the ground. That's all that happened.
Nothing's happened, nothing to be seen here. I'm walking just fine. Just because my backside is wet doesn't mean anything.
That's
Funny.
right.
All right. So, what is the strangest piece of advice that you've ever received?
Oh my goodness, the strangest piece of advice that I have ever received. I this is going to sound so silly. I don't know if I've ever really if I get so much great advice, I think if I get something silly, I just kind of let it go. So I don't save space in my little brain for that. So I can't think of the silliest piece, but I can think of one of my favorite pieces of advice, which was, and I think it really resonates, in my opinion, in this space because when I first started in the DSO world, I felt like a lot of people used the term reinvent the wheel. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. Like you don't have to. And even as business owners, sometimes, or as entrepreneurs, we think that we have to reinvent it. But my dad always told me, you don't have to reinvent the wheel. You just have to polish someone else's. And I thought that was really powerful. And so that's something that I say quite frequently. So I'm sorry that I didn't have anything silly to say instead.
No, I like that. I like that. There's so many people that will just spend so much time on things that are already there. And I'm like,
Yeah,
no, don't do that. Just learn from what's already out there and make it better. Right? Like what your
that's
dad
right.
said, just polish it. It's the amount of effort and energy that's put out there to do that, to just like think they're coming up with something new and extravagant, and you're like, that's not new. It's
Yeah.
like, oh my
No,
gosh, how much time did you
it's like
spend on that?
soda. Yeah, it's like soda. How many brands of soda are there out there? Like soda is soda, people, but then there's Mountain Dew or Coke or Diet Coke or
And then
all of
there's
those
Diet
different
Dr.
kinds.
Pepper.
Is that your
But yeah,
favorite?
yeah. Well, it's how we spin it. It's like, you think I have a lot of friends, which is really interesting that I have a lot of colleagues and friends that are in the marketing space, because I'm not in the marketing space, but I tend to draw friends from that. And it's so interesting because I think before I knew, Sarah, before I knew people that were like you, that are amazing marketing people, amazing social media people, I just thought it was all the same. I literally did. I was like, you guys all do the same thing with a little bit of a twist, you know. But then I realized that is not true, you know. So, it's kind of like the soda, I guess, but you still come with a base though. You still come with a base. Everybody comes with the base. At least I think we do. But yeah. All right. So, what's one of the biggest challenges you've faced, and how did you overcome it?
Well, I would say, and I don't know if this is a traditional challenge, but something that I struggle with on a regular basis is when I meet people who are amazing and I ask them, why don't you post more on LinkedIn? And they look at me and say, I'm afraid, or I don't know what to post, or what if people tend to think that they're not enough or that they're not going to be interesting enough. And that crushes my little sparkly soul because most of the people that say those things to me are absolutely amazing and know so much. And there's so many people in the industry that would benefit from hearing from these individuals. So to me, it's
Mm-hmm.
kind of a personal struggle because, and I'm trying to overcome it because I also, my COO makes fun of me. Sometimes I get upset, not at people, but I get like mad, like this person that I just met today, they're so amazing. They should listen to me. They should go post on LinkedIn. It's going to be great. And so I need to just remember that people are where they are in their lives. And I can sit here and I can encourage them as best I can. And I also have to remember one of the biggest lessons that I've learned is that not everybody is like me. And not that I want people to be like me, but if I say it out loud, how do I want to articulate this? Surely I do want people to be like me if I say to them, "Hey, why don't you just post on LinkedIn? It's easy. You just talk about, your knowledge." Like that's my zone of genius. Of course it's easy for me. I can't make it easy for them until they're ready. So I would say meeting great people who aren't ready to tell their stories yet, and then I just have to remember that not everybody is like me and I need to just encourage them.
Well, it's true because prior to me posting, which was many years ago, it was scary because you're putting yourself out there. What if you post something that somebody doesn't like, right? And then, or you do. I had a situation where I would post I post, like, now I post almost daily, but I had a situation a few years ago where my boss was like, you don't need to be posting on LinkedIn as much as you do. And I remember just kind of thinking, what does that have to do with you? I was just like, I'm not talking about the company. I'm not talking about, this is me, right? But it was the response was, you're putting too much light on yourself. And people are seeing what you're doing, and it's too much exposure. For that particular person, it was too much exposure for them, right? I was like, well, this is my LinkedIn. I'm not posting on your business stuff, so we're good. But
I'm
but you have people that think that, and that's okay, right? But
I am just so glad I am not on camera right now because I have like the meanest face. I want you to tell me who this is
oh,
after
no,
we
no,
get
no, no,
done
no.
filming. I'm just kidding. That's well, shame on that person, because I tell people all the time, I talk with a lot of salespeople, and I'll say this, and maybe their bosses might not like this, but for everybody, whether where you're at is for now or for forever, posting on LinkedIn does two really great things. One, it indirectly draws attention to the company that you work for. And then two, it helps you build your network for the future if you ever need it. And so for your boss to say that, I would have said, like, people are paying attention to me, and they're indirectly going to pay attention to our company.
Some people just are not as comfortable with having their information out there, right? And so to have somebody who does that, it makes them uncomfortable, right? And I remember just one of the times I talked to this individual, said, "Don't worry, I'm not going to ever say anything about anybody in the office." I know you don't ever see that. You don't ever see that on my LinkedIn, right? So
Right.
I'm never going to do that. So, but I think it's just, people who don't understand LinkedIn or don't understand the amazingness of, I can't tell you how much I've learned from just reading people's posts and learning about them, and the network I've grown because of learning from them. It's a pretty cool and powerful tool. And I've been on LinkedIn since 2000 and this tells you how old I am. I've been on LinkedIn since 2009, I think, when it first started. Now, if I had gotten on there like I do now, my LinkedIn probably would be a little bigger, but I had to learn how to do it, right, Sarah? I had to be brave enough to do it. So, do you think more extroverts post on LinkedIn than introverts? Just asking the question.
That is an interesting question. I don't know if that kind of like introvert extrovert applies to social media, because you know how some people can get real brave behind their little keyboard and not so much in person. So I don't know if there's a correlation or connection between the two, but I will say consistently also people tell me I don't want to promote myself, and I think that could apply to both intro and extroverts. And so I have to remind people, you don't have to post about yourself. You can say a lot about yourself without saying anything about yourself. But that's an interesting question. I might actually have to do some research on that, like if there's a difference statistically between who posts
I'll
and,
be
and
looking
not.
forward to it. I'll be looking forward to it. All right.
I'll
So
write that down.
what's one thing you wish patients or even practices, the public, really understand more about what you do and why it's beneficial?
I think that a thing that maybe a lot of people don't think about when they think about marketing and or social media is how much it helps not just new patient flow, new patient acquisition, also retention. And I think a lot of people don't realize that what we do can also help with hiring. It can help with creating culture in your practice, in your business, anything. You have those practices that I saw one the other day, and it was a video of a doctor leaving a room, and the quote was, "What do you do when a patient says that they don't?" And I don't even know if it was dental specific, but it was like, "What do you do when a patient doesn't accept treatment?" And like the doctor and the team is like dancing down the hallway to like some song about like "We don't care" or something like that, like just to be funny, but you kind of get an idea of what the culture is like in that practice. So if you're hiring for that practice and people see that on your social media, they might either think, well, they don't even take themselves seriously, I don't want to work there. Or they might think, wow, that place looks so fun. I'm trying to decide between practice 1 and 2. That's where I want to go. Same with patients. Patients look at that. Some patients might not like that, and some might think it's amazing. And so I think it really lends itself to creating the vision of what your culture is in your practice and or business. And it helps with retention, hiring, even with associates. And so I wish more people realized that telling your story is really also telling potential new hires and things like that. So that's one thing that I would really want people to understand.
It's interesting because when working on the medical side, social media is not necessarily it may now start becoming out there because I've been seeing a lot more doctors getting on from a medical perspective. But from a dental perspective, social media is a pretty big deal, and they're quite good.
Yeah. They There's a lot of different platforms. There's a lot of different options in regards to what people can do. And it really is, it's a great way to. Now, I will say this though, as far as video goes, because then people will say to me, I don't want to get on TikTok. I don't want to do videos. That terrifies me. And that is a-okay. We're not comparing, right? Comparison is the thief of joy. And so whatever makes sense for you to do as an individual and be authentic, number one, that's the most important thing.
Oh yeah, the authentic thing. Yes, for sure, for sure. See, I would just be acting like a fool on video. I'm still trying to figure that out. I'm still trying to figure out the video thing. I got all the gear. I just haven't figured out how to not look like a fool. But that's okay. That's okay.
I
Go ahead.
seriously doubt that you look like a fool, ma'am. Doubt it.
Oh, yeah, you should see some of the videos I can show you. They're kind of crazy. Although I will say this year, my goal this year is every conference or every speaking engagement that I go to, I am videoing and commenting and talking and I'm learning how to take that and put it together to promote where I've been, right, Sarah? But also to show how fun they are and how much you learn from them so people will be engaged and go. Because I'm a big proponent of education. I think the more you know, the better you are. And so I would love for more people to go and participate in conferences because you just learn more, right? You just learn more than what you would learn if you're just sitting in the office all the time. I'm not saying you need to go all the time, but I'm just saying that the industry, sending your dental hygienist, sending your office managers, send your office managers to Dykema. Send them to the AA, the AAO or the AA, all these different ones, right? Instead of just one conference that may be focusing only on office managers or operations. I mean, send them to these other big conferences. They learn so much more, right? I don't know. That's just me. I don't
And
know why I got off on
I
that.
Well, I feel like it also adds, maybe doesn't generate loyalty, but it does, it kind of gives people the sense of importance, right? So, hey, Sally, you're an office manager. We're going to send you to ADOM. You've never been before. And for that individual, she could think, wow, they're really trusting me to go to this conference and represent. So I think it also helps to give a sense of ownership to the team. But I definitely
Yeah.
agree. And it's not like you can't send a doctor to a conference and then expect them to retain everything and then get back and be like, okay, team, this is like everything that I learned. Like it's more of a limitation in regards to that because you can only retain so much. So I love that. I agree with you. Education is important and you have plenty of people in your team to send to conferences.
Yeah, there's lots of opportunities to learn for sure. Does it from an event, from, taking on your hat of an event planner and thinking of all of our dental conferences, what do you find is the most unique part of
What's really surprised me is the networking and how much we value that. And I mean, I even went to
Yes.
ADSO this week and I remember, or last week, when the heck was it? They're all bleeding together now or blending together. But I just remembered seeing like Pat Bauer and Steve Bill down in the bar, just hanging out. People could approach them. Like it was very relaxed. And I just thought that was so cool. And how much our industry loves to network with each other, I think is definitely it's unique. And a lot of these conferences really provide that ability to do that. I do have a suggestion for anybody. There have been a couple of conferences, not very many, but you know how usually Cissy, like when we go to Tech Summit, right? Like we go maybe on a Wednesday and then like the welcome reception is Wednesday night and then it's all day Thursday and half day Friday, right? And then everybody goes home. I've seen events where there's no welcome reception. And so you come in the day before, and then you go right into sessions on the next day at 8 a.m. And I think if you're going to do that, it might be a good idea to have some form of a welcome reception or even a networking event the day before. So it's not just people coming in from out of town, spending the night, paying for one hotel night and then going to the conference the next day. Like plan something. I don't think too many conferences do that, but I have seen a handful. And so I think it's important to make sure
Hmm,
that you're
interesting.
providing value.
Yeah, I will say this from my experience of all different kinds of conferences that I've been to. The medical conferences, because they're so large, like I'm going this week. Tomorrow I leave to go to the AAPC conference. They're probably expecting like 30, 40,000 people. And
My
so,
gosh.
you walk in and you're either stunned by the amount of people, right? Or you're just naturally the person that walks up to just strangers and start talking to them. You're just like, oh, well, I'm the natural person. Just like, but you come into the dental conferences and maybe 900 or 1,000 people. I think they're pretty awesome because of the networking, because it really makes it small enough to kind of get around to talk to people. Whereas you walk into one of these, 30, 40,000 people conferences, it's hard to, connect with people. Right.
So hard. Yeah, especially you're right with all those people. And now some of them like Dykema, women in DSO, they're great networking. And but I find it's so crazy to me. I'll come back from a conference and then see like, Cissy, you were there. How did I not see you? Like you just get into these amazing conversations and I really do believe it's a large part of it is because of the way that the event planners kind of curate like the space and the activities. And so it's I do definitely love the smaller ones to be able to network.
Yeah. I for sure it's funny because I don't post like you post on there of all the people you saw on the conferences. I'm like, I'm busy talking, I forget to take pictures. And then I come back and I'm like, I forget to take pictures. It's like, man, like, oh man. It's like I need to just run around with the camera. So now I'm running around with the camera. So we'll watch out this year. It's gonna be a crazy year of all the conferences I go to. I've got a couple that I still need to post, but those are gonna be fun. What kind of so let's change because what do you think from an industry standpoint, innovation, what excites you in what you do and what you see, everything else? You see these innovations. What are you excited about? Like you're like, I can't wait for that to happen.
I can't wait for, I love, of course, I could definitely say AI integration into everything because that's such a hot topic. But I think so I am excited about that, but I'm also excited about the conversations around how I think a lot of people get nervous about AI replacing people. And oh gosh, Mackenzie Fagan said it really well. She said, it's not, gosh, I'm going to butcher it. And she's going to be like, Sarah, you should have gotten that right. It was something about AI. We're all worried about AI replacing us, but actually what's going to replace us is people using AI. If you're not, that was the least articulate way to say it. She said it way better. But I'm excited that people are having conversations around how AI and existing team members can coexist and how it can help people with their jobs and make it easier so then that way they can spend more time talking to patients or helping people. And so I think that portion of AI is really, really exciting to me. And anything that can help drive and build relationships, that's also something that I'm really excited about. But again, I do really like the conversations around AI and how it's more so, let's not talk about it from a fear perspective. Let's talk about it how it can, from a help us perspective, to give us time back so we can do other things.
So when you think about the next 5 years for you, what are your goals? I mean, do you have very specific goal? I mean, you're gonna have goals for your business and what you're doing, but for you personally, like how do you set your goals? And you say, that's where I want to be in 5 years.
Oh man, I'm sure my dad would have loved if I did that because he was very corporate and he would sit me down at the beginning of the year and say, "Here's my 5 and 10 year goals for you, Sarah." My dad was very business minded, and so he would come up with goals for myself. And I obviously love him and miss him so much, and I love that he did that for me. I I really sometimes struggle, and I talk to my COO about this all the time. The future almost is, it's like there's a clouded curtain in front of me. And so it's getting more and more clear for me. And so I look at it as far as my goals as to what I want to be doing. I want to be going to conferences. I want to be able to help people and talk to people, have a team behind me that supports me so that I can go do all of these things. I have no idea how big I want my company to be. And as far as like really defined goals, we do have KPIs that we have in place. And so it's interesting. It doesn't change for me. I'm just still trying to define what I want it to look like. So for me, I look at what are the things that I want my business to be able to allow me to do. And so travel, spending time with all of our road warriors that we see all over the place. And so that's a goal for my business. As far as me personally, it's really kind of along the same lines. I really want to be able to give myself not necessarily the life that I want to live, but I want to be able to travel and do so my goals, I guess, are very parallel. It's just that my company, well, and two, my goals are to help my team grow as well. That's a really important part of this whole entire thing to me. We have a pretty great team. It's young individuals, and we talk about self-worth and all of that good stuff all the time because I did not talk about that when I was their age. So that was a really terrible example. So you're like Miss Numbers, right? So you're like, you probably have like certain set goals, and I'm just like, my head's in the clouds, Sissy. I want to be able to go to Disney whenever the heck I want. Oh, that's a goal, Sissy. I want to join what the heck is
I'm
the
gonna be there
35?
this week.
But what's the special club called? I forget. Do
Club
you know what it is?
33. Club 33.
Yes. Girl, that's what I want. I want to feel comfortable enough in my business that I could just be like, you know what? This is the year. I'm just going to join. Here, let me just
I'm
give
gonna
you my
join
credit card.
Club 33. I think you probably put your name in now. It's a 15-year wait.
There's a wait for it?
Yeah, it's a
What?
15 years wait. Yeah.
Oh
You can't just
my
walk
God.
up.
Wow. Wow. I had
I mean,
no
I don't know. Maybe
idea.
you can just walk up and do it, but they say it's a 15-year wait. So
You know, that is crazy. And but they're probably just saying that. We could make up a day, Sissy. You and I should just say this is national. We go to Disney Day or go to Disney Day. We could probably just make something up and tell people that
oh
and
my
people would
gosh,
believe us.
we could totally do that. I would totally, because there's other people in our industry that loves Disney that I have found
Oh,
out that I
there's
didn't realize.
yeah, there's quite a bit. We should, you know what? That's what we should do. That's what I'm going to say to all the event planners. Somebody have it at Disney, please.
Somebody have a conference in Orlando, and then we'll make a Disney Day or something and say, come down, come enjoy the Disney. That would be so much fun. That would be so much fun. Oh, I will tell you what I've done, Sarah. This is kind of a weird thing, but I guess it's been about 20 years ago. This tells you how old I am. 20 or 25 years ago. I don't remember what it was when I started doing it because it drives my husband nuts. But I put goals on my window, on my bathroom mirror, and I write it in lipstick or it's either in lipstick or it's in a Sharpie because you can wipe Sharpie off of glass. So I put 5 goals up. And I say, I want this achieved, I want to do this, and I want to do this. And then I mark them off. And when I have all 5 done, I put up 5 more goals. And sometimes it takes a really long time. Like my husband was like, these goals have been up here for a couple of years. I was like, I haven't finished them yet. He was like, okay. But I see it every morning. Every morning it's right
Ah,
there staring at me. Susie, are you
I
doing this?
love that.
And I can tell you that every goal I have put on my bathroom mirror, I have achieved. Now, it may have taken me years to achieve, but I have achieved it. And so I have other goals on my bathroom mirror now, right? So maybe you should try something like that. Put it in lipstick and put some sparkles around it. It'd be like,
I
oh, like,
love that so much in lipstick. That is like, if anybody takes anything away from this podcast, this episode, I hope that they write well, not everybody has lipstick. So I hope that they write their goals or put their goals on their mirror. Actually, I might even put that in a post. I'm curious as to what other people
put
do.
that in a post to see how many other people do it. I'll be happy I'll take a picture of my goals and then put it on there under there so you can see. For many years, my goal was to get my master's degree. Now, I did that many, many years ago, but at the time, I really wanted to do it. And I always thought that I thought, I don't think I'm smart enough to get a master's degree. And I had to convince myself to go after my master's because I just didn't feel like I was smart enough. Finally, I did it. But it sat on my mirror for probably 3 or 4 years. Go after your master's, But I finally did because I'm staring at it all the time, right? Now that was many years ago. I've had my master's for a while, but do you know what I'm saying? Like, it made you think every day, oh, I should be doing that. Oh, I should be doing that,
Yeah.
So
That's,
I'm just saying, and they don't
no,
have to be big goals either. So, but I
no,
have
I
big
don't
goals.
think you have. Well, of course you do, Miss New Entrepreneur. But it is interesting the limiting beliefs that we tell ourselves, right? Because I'm not smart enough to get my master's. Well, how do you know? Just go try it. But we still tell ourselves, nope,
We're so
not.
afraid of failing.
I know. Yep.
It's it's deep wrenching when you fail, right? But it's getting up and doing it again. I can't tell you how many times I have just failed at stuff and then gotten up again and be like, okay, I can do this again. I can do this, you know? But when you have a visual like that, I don't know who told me to do it because I know someone said to do it to me because I never thought of doing it, but, and I've been doing it ever since. But there is a sense of, okay, you're going to get it. You're going to get it eventually. You want it off your mirror, right?
Hmm.
I don't know. It's something you might want to think about. And when you do it, put some sparkles around it. I bet you can find some stuff with sparkles on it. Go perfect for you. Um,
Have to look.
sparkles. All right. So, what makes you stay motivated? Like you've been doing your business for what, 5, 6 years now or longer?
I think we're at the three-ish year
Okay.
mark.
So what keeps you motivated? What makes you get up out of the bed and say, I'm going after it today?
I would say that there's two things. One is that I don't want to make this like a long-ish story, but I truly believe that the quality of our lives is determined by the quality of our relationships. And in order to have powerful and meaningful and lasting relationships, you have to be able to understand other people. But before you can understand anybody else, in my opinion, you have to understand yourself. And so when people come to me and say, Sarah, I want to grow on LinkedIn, but I don't think I have anything important to say. I don't know what to post about. Who's going to listen to me? Even if they have a lot of things to say. Helping people identify their personal brand is also helping them to understand themselves. And that is a huge, and whether it's a person or a company, my brand, my corporate brand is also my personal brand. So it's really rewarding to be able to help people understand themselves better. And so that's one driver that will probably drive me until the day that I'm no longer here, because I want to have a positive impact on people. And the second thing is, honestly, Sissy, I never thought I could do this. I never thought. I was an entrepreneur. I can help build companies. I watched my dad as this huge corporate, amazing figure my whole life, but I was like, I'm an entrepreneur. I can help companies grow. And really working at the DEO and watching clinicians go on this journey, a tough one where most of them don't have a business background. It really opened my eyes. I also thought that there was something wrong with me because I had all these ideas, but I couldn't execute them. And then also at the DEO, I learned about EOS and how you can have your visionary and your integrator or your implementer to help you. And so I fully identify as an entrepreneur. And so I think what also motivates me every day is just remembering that I doubted myself. And so I'm not doubting myself. Well, some days, right? We all do, especially entrepreneurs or anybody, I guess. But I think it's still the surprise that I'm doing it and it's going well. So that also motivates me.
Oh, that's pretty awesome. That's really awesome. I do think it's one of the most rewarding thing that I think that's happening right now is that I'm taking the risk of doing it. Right?
Mhm.
You're like, oh, it's the risk. It's the scary part, right? But I think it's amazing where what you've done and where you're at. I mean, I get a smile on my face when I see people out in the conferences and I see people posting and I'm like, oh, there she is. Oh, there's Sarah. Oh, I think it's it's to me it's nice because you're out there, you're doing it, you're making your relationships and talking to people and getting to know people and doing stuff, and so I think it's pretty exciting, pretty exciting. All right, well you realize it's almost been 55 minutes.
Oh my goodness.
I know, right? It
Wow.
goes so quickly. That's
It
my
does.
trade now. I always say what time it is right before we get on the rapid questions. They're like, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe it's been this long." All right, so let's do the rapid questions. So, Sarah, the rapid questions are this. Ask you the question, and then you quickly just respond back. This, you
Okay.
ready? All right, here we go.
I think so. Yep. Okay.
If you weren't in dentistry, what would you be doing today?
Oh my gosh. Making glitter.
That's probably true. I could see that with a unicorn. I could totally see that. Or you'd be working for Disney, one or the other, right?
That's a good one. Yes.
What's a weird or unexpected skill that you've picked up over the years?
A weird or unexpected. Wow, this is hard I think become a better dancer because of all these conferences and all of the music and everything. So that's what I'll say, Sissy. So boring, but
I
that's what I'm
knew
going
thought
with.
that. Two left feet. I don't even know if I keep on beat. What's your go-to way to de-stress after a tough day?
Love to like self-care is important to me, but I'm a bubble bath girl through and through. So if I have a stressful day, I don't even if it's the stressful at 10 o'clock in the morning, I'll go take a bath.
Oh, nice, nice. I do like those. If you could have dinner with any historical or modern individual in dentistry or healthcare, anybody, doesn't even have to be in those industry, who would it be?
Is this one of what like they can still be alive, right?
They can still be alive. They might want to have
I
dinner with you if you tell them on this podcast. You never know.
Well, Stevie Nicks, I'm talking to you, sister. So actually, Stevie Nicks and or like I would love to talk with her, but Simon Sinek doesn't know it yet, but we're gonna be best friends. And so I would also
Yeah,
love to like
yeah.
have dinner with him for sure.
I could see that. I could see that. Y'all are kind of in the same realm of things that you do. Yeah. Well, you know what I'll do? And I'll just tag them on the podcast and see if they respond to you. You never know. You know, you
Stevie
never
Nicks
know.
and
The
Simon
people,
Sinek.
it's just like what they said, 7 degrees to Kevin Bacon. We could be 7 degrees to these guys as well. You never know who you know. I do live in
You never
Nashville.
know.
It's amazing the kind of people that I know that know other people that I didn't even know they knew those other people. And I was like, oh, I didn't know you knew them. They're like, yeah, I know them. I'm like, oh, okay. But that happens in Nashville. I don't know about other places. All right, Sarah, it was an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for being on the Hidden Pulse. I look forward to this being on air, so I appreciate you giving me your time. Is there anything else you want to say before we head off into the air, the world?
Sissy, I just want to say that I think that you are doing an absolutely amazing job. I know that being a new entrepreneur, and I know you have support and you have a team, but I'm sure you already know this, but I hope that you are so proud of yourself because this is really hard. And so I'm excited that you have started on this venture and happy birthday to you.
Almost forgot my birthday again. Yeah, thank you. Well, thank you. I love the words, and I look forward to seeing you at the next conference.
Me too. And have fun in Orlando. Don't have too much fun though.
I'm doing continuing education on my coding. So it's really, really exciting and dry stuff. How do you code for this? And how do you build for this? And how do you do this? And my focus this time, Sarah, is not so much of the actual physical coding of services, but I am really going for all compliance and risks things because with dentistry getting very, very close to, with Medicare getting very close to coming into dentistry, I need to make sure that I'm staying on top of all the risk management and compliance aspects. So fun things to listen to and go to hear. I promise I won't be sleeping in my classes. I promise. All right. Well, Sarah, have a wonderful afternoon. We'll talk to you later.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye-bye.
Well, that's a wrap for this episode of The Hidden Pulse with Cissy and my guest, Sarah. Wow. Did you just absolutely enjoy this episode? All the wonderful things about her being a little bit clumsy, about her different stories, about her dad and how he helped her go after her dreams, and much, much more. I really enjoyed having Sarah on the podcast today. It really made me feel like, hey, I can do anything. And the fact that we recorded this episode almost, goodness gracious, 6 months ago, and it's just now dropping, and for her to wish me happy birthday again, that was kind of fun to get. But anyway, I wanted to say thank you for joining us. I hope today's conversation left you feeling inspired, relaxed, and ready to take on new challenges, just with a little laughter as well. If you enjoyed the show, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, share it with your network. We're growing, and with your help, we can grow across the healthcare industry. Because every pulse and every story is a connection that matters. I'm Cissy Mangrum. Until next time, keep pushing forward, look for those amazing opportunities, stay curious, and never lose sight of your hidden pulse.